My dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Here we are again with English grammar lessons with Dr. SAIHI Hanane. Lesson 5, Verbs. Of course, before talking about any detail about the verbs, normally we have to define the verbs in order to know the kinds of the verbs and the different uses of the verbs, the tenses, and so on. So, what are the verbs? The verbs are the action words in a sentence that describe what the subject is doing. Along with nouns, verbs are the main part of a sentence. Are what? Main part of a sentence or a phrase, telling a story about what is taking place. So when I talk about the verbs, they are the main parts of the sentence. Without the verbs, we cannot say that this is a sentence. So the sentence is nothing without a verb. We cannot call it a sentence. We can call it a phrase. We can call it anything else. Phrase, verb, phrase, for example, it can be noun phrase, it can be anything else, except that it is a sentence. So the sentence is sentence with a verb. So the verb tells us exactly what is the subject doing. So, when I talk about the verbs, so we have a huge number of the verbs. So the verbs in English, if you can say, it's one of the largest class of words with the nouns. Okay, so kinds of verbs. The kinds of verbs that we have in English are two main kinds. Two what? Main kinds. One is called the main verb, and the other one is called the helping verb. So what's the difference? The main verb is also called lexical verb because it is meaningful. The main verbs, lexical verbs like transitive and intransitive. Transitive and intransitive are main verbs. They have a certain meaning. And we have linking verbs. Linking verbs, they link between a subject and its objects or its complements. Dynamic and stative, we talk about the verbs of action and the verbs without normally that express states of being. We have also regular and irregular verbs. And the regular and irregular verbs, the differences between them is that in terms of the rule. So the rule of the past tense. So in the past tense, normally we use ed for the regular verbs, while irregular verbs, they do not take the ed. Now, these are the main, if you can say, types under what is called the main verbs or lexical verbs. And we have what we call them helping verbs. And the helping verbs, they can be primary and can be modal verbs. So primary verbs, they are normally used with another verb to normally to form a tense. Example, we have progressive tenses and we have the perfect tenses. For the progressive tenses, we can use normally the verb to be plus the verb plus ing. While the perfect tenses, we don't use to be, we use to have. So, this to be and to have are called primary verbs, primary helping verbs. And we have modal verbs that are used normally not to mention the tense, not for the tense. They are used mainly for expressing possibility, expressing ability, and so on and so forth. For example, let's say, I can go here. So, it's not a question of tense, it tells us the ability to do something. I can go, I may go, I will go. These are normally called modal verbs. So let's see examples about these types of main verbs. Examples, normally here we have the examples for the main verbs and even the helping verbs. For the main verbs, we have transitive and intransitive. The transitive verb, I saw an elephant. I saw what? An elephant. So, I saw, it's a verb which is transitive, which is normally the verb that needs an object. So, I saw, I ask a question, what have you seen? What did you see? I saw. What did you see? I saw an elephant. So, I saw an elephant. It is not normally an intransitive. So, when I saw, it is not sufficient. I have to complete. I have to add something. I ask the question what? So, here, I have to add an object to make the meaning complete. So, while intransitive is the verb that does not need any object. So it is, when I say he has arrived, like here, he has arrived, so it means that normally here we don't need any object. He has arrived. Full stop. He has arrived. So he was elsewhere and he has arrived. Okay? So arrived here, it means there is no object. So the verb itself is meaningful. So there is no need for an addition. It's not like the case of the transitive verb so. We have also what is called linking verb. Linking verb, it is a verb that links a subject with its complements. The complement can be a noun phrase, or an adjective. So it can be a noun or an adjective. So I say, Mary is a teacher. Mary is a teacher. What does it mean? So Mary is equal to teacher. Is equal. That's why it is called a linking verb. So, the linking verb, as I said, Mary is a teacher. It is equal to teacher. Mary is equal to teacher. So, Tara is beautiful. Tara is beautiful. What does it mean? So, Tara is beautiful. It means that it is equal to. It means that there is a certain complement. So, it adds something to the verb, to the subject, sorry. So, Tara is beautiful is equal to beautiful. Tara is equal to beautiful. So here, this is another kind of main verbs. We have a third kind of main verbs, which is normally either dynamic or stative. Dynamic, hit, explode, fight, run, and go. So here there is a certain action, and we can call it action verb also. So there is a kind of action. So when I say hit, it means there is a certain action here. When I say explode, there is an action. When I say run, so there's a kind of a walk. Fight, so go. All of them, there is a kind of action in their meaning. While when I say stative, like be, like, love, prefer, wish, impress, please, surprise, these are verbs that normally express emotion, feelings. So they are not like the previous one, dynamic. They are just expressing certain feelings, certain emotion. They describe our own feelings. So, regular versus irregular verbs. This is the fourth type of verbs. Look, looked, looked, work, worked, worked. Here, what's the difference between them? They are the same. They are both main verbs, but the difference is that in terms of the addition of ed, So when in the simple past we add ed, or with the past participle we add ed to the verb to be in the past, while the irregular we cannot apply this rule. Here for the irregular, each verb has its own normally past tense and its past participle. Like here we have buy, bought, bought, cat, cat, cats, do, did, and done. So here these verbs, they change differently, so they do not have a certain rule. So I say bought, bought. In other example, I can say go, went, gone. So it changes totally. So from go we have went. Go and went are not the same. Even the letters, they are not similar. So here we have normally the helping verbs. We have seen the main verbs. Now we are going to see the helping verbs. The helping verbs, we have the primary and we have the modal. So the primary, normally helping verbs, they are used to make simple tenses and questions and negatives. So these are normally the verb to do. It's related to the verb to do. So I say I didn't do something, or did you do something? So we use it with the main verb in order to form the negative form or the questions. Also to make continuous tenses and the passive voice. Here the continuous tenses, for example, I am going to do, for example, here also for the passive voice, I say the cat, for example, caught the mouse. So the mouse was caught by the cat. So here I use the verb to be in order to make the passive voice. Also to make the perfect tenses, here we talk about the verb to have, the primary helping verb to have. I have done it, I have looked, I have worked, I have bought, and so on. And we have the modal verbs like can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, must, and ought to. So these are called the modal verbs. So the modal verbs, they are used not to form the tense or to form the negative or the questions. They are used to give more details to the main verb. For example, I say I can speak English. Here it expresses the ability, my skill. I say I can help you. Here this is such an offer. Can you help me? This is a request. So so the use of this model changes normally the meaning of the main verb, and it adds more details to the main verb. So this is normally the main use of the modals in English. To recapitulate, in English, in this slide, normally verbs in English are the main action words in the sentence. So without the verbs we cannot say that this is a sentence. Okay? And we have seen also the two kinds of verbs. We have the main verbs or lexical verbs, and lexical because they are meaningful by themselves. And helping verbs, so they do nothing, they just help the verb. Help what? The main verb. So they help the main verb to form, for example, perfect tense or progressive tense. Also, we have the transitive and transitive as part of the main verbs. We have the linking verbs, dynamic stative, regular and irregular. And for helping verbs, we have primary and we have modal verbs. Let's see now the tenses. The tenses in English, normally we have three main tenses: the past, the present, the future. For the past, we have simple past, progressive past, and perfect past. For the present, we have the simple, we have the progressive, and also the perfect. For the future, the same. You have the simple, the progressive, and the perfect. We start with the past tense. The past tense, we have the simple past, progressive past, and perfect past. So, we start with the simple past. The simple past, the rule says that normally we add ed to the stem to have the past, or we have an irregular form for the verb, and it depends. An action, so the use of this simple past is to express an action or situation that began and ended in the past. Here, example, the teacher assigned 2 problems last week. She thought a lot. So, things that happened normally in the past. Simple past. Normally occurred and ended in the past. So, began and ended in the past. Okay? And the teacher assigned 2 problems last week. He did it. Okay? So, we move now to the progressive past. The progressive past, it is normally formed of the past tense form of to be, was or were, plus a present participle. What is a present participle? The present participle is the verb plus ing. An action, condition, or the in progress at a certain time or occurrence in the past. So, example of this, the teacher was assigning problems when the bell rang. The teacher was assigning problems when the bell rang. So here, there was an action occurring at a certain time or at a certain period of time. So here, normally there is a duration. There is a certain duration for the action. The teacher was assigning problems when the bell rang. Was assigning problems. ing. So here, as you have seen here, was, because we have the teacher and the teacher is singular, so we use was. If we have teachers, we are going to say were. So a repeated action in the past. A repeated action, it means what? Example, we see the example first. I was studying all last week. So I was studying all last week. It does not mean that I don't eat, I don't have a rest, I don't go out, etc., etc. So there are certain hours for study. So each day or from day to day. For example, a day, and the next day I have to have a rest, and the next. So it was repeated. Normally in a separate sequence of time. For example, today at 8 I study from 8 to 10, and then I have a rest. Then in the afternoon I have another normally period for study. It can be 2 hours or 1 hour, it depends. And tomorrow I will have a rest. After tomorrow I will have another session, and so on, so on. So the sessions can be separate, but along the week. This does not mean that I don't do anything else 24 hours per day. No, it means I was studying for different sessions. Okay, now we move to the perfect past. The perfect past, normally it is formed of the verb to have plus the past participle of the main verb. It means what? I add ed, or I have to check the rule. I mean the irregular verbs lists. An event or condition that occurred before another event or time in the past. Example, she had assigned several problems before the class ended. She had assigned several problems before the class ended. So, had assigned several problems before the class normally ended. So an event or condition that occurred before another event or time in the past. So the two events, normally one before the other. So in the sequence. So the first one normally is in the past perfect, and the second one is in the simple past. Here we have, she had assigned several problems before the class ended. So when the class ended, it had already or she had already assigned normally the problems. The second use of the past participle, the perfect past, is in the complex sentences with the conditional sentences mainly. When we have an in true condition in the subordinate clause. If I had studied more, I would have earned normally an A. Okay, I would have earned earned an A. So this is normally the past perfect use, second use. It is used mainly in the conditional sentences. The past tense: simple present, progressive present, and perfect present. We have three types. For the simple present, we add s or es in the third person singular, while the rest, the main verb, stays as it is. It is used to express an action or situation that exists usually, always, or habitually, normally, in the present moment. So the teacher assigns problems every day. So it is a habit. So we got used to his assignments. It is used also to express a truth or facts. There are 24 hours in a day. So it is a fact. We cannot change it. Also, we use the present progressive also to express normally an action that is normally happening during or occurring during the time of speaking. So a present tense form of be, which is either is or are or am. Am normally it goes only with the first singular person, the speaker, I, plus a present participle. It is used to express an action condition that is in progress now. Example: the teacher is assigning problems right now. Right now. So, I am, the second use for the progressive present is an action in the extended present that will eventually end. An action in the extended present that will eventually end. Example: I am studying physics this semester. So this semester, when it ends this semester, I will finish this physics. Okay, so we can use it for a temporary situation that can end any time. I am struggling with the homework problems. I am struggling with the homework problems. So I am suffering with them. I am doing my best in order to end up with them. So it is temporary situation. Also, it is used for the repeated action. My physics teacher is assigning difficult problems. It is his habit. Is assigning difficult problems. So yeah, it is a habit. So he doesn't stop giving us difficult problems. So no easy problems are presented or assigned by him. So what do we have here? We have the perfect present. Have or has plus a past participle. So it is have or has. Has, of course, with the third singular person. I say she has, it has, and he has. And I say I have, you have, they have, we have. So plus past participle, which is normally the verb plus ed, or we have to see the irregular verbs list. It is used to express an event or situation that's begun before now and continues into the present. Example of this: I have been in this class for 2 weeks. I have been in this class for 2 weeks. So here it is an event, situation that's begun before now and continues into the present. So till the moment of the speech. Also, prior action that has occurred has current relevance, so its effect still exists in the present time. Example, the teacher has assigned what? This chapter already. Has assigned, and its effect still exists. Has assigned this chapter already. So now we are to do it. Number 3, a very recently completed action. So I say, I have just finished tomorrow's homework. I have just finished. So it is so I have stopped writing now. The fourth use, it is used when there is an action that occurred over a prior time period and is completed at the moment of speaking. Example, I have studied the course material for 3 hours. I have studied and I have finished. And it is completed at the moment of speaking, so I have finished with it. So I took a long time just studying it, and now I have finished. It is used in complex sentences, time-related event or condition with the subordinate clauses. For example, I say, when I have finished today's problems, I will be able to relax. I will be able to relax. So here we have, it is normally used with conditional normally sentences. Okay, we move now to the future tenses. For the future tenses, what do we have? We have the simple, progressive, and perfect. So the simple future, it is will plus the simple form of the verb. Example, I will clean up my room. I promise. The telephone is ringing. I'll pick it up. Okay, I will pick it up, sorry. Okay, progressive future. The progressive future, it is will be plus a present participle. Or we have two forms, or it is the verb to be, is or are, going to plus be plus a present participle. An action or condition that will be in progress at a certain point in time or when another event occurs in the future. Example, the teacher will be assigning problems at the end of class. Will be assigning problems at the end of class. The teacher is going to be assigning work all semester. Is going to be assigning. So here what I have is going to be plus the verb plus ing, and this is normally another one, will be assigning problems. Here normally it is the progressive future. It is the verb to be in the future. It is the verb to be in the simple future plus the verb ing with ing. Perfect, normally perfect future. Perfect future, it is will have plus past participle, or it is or are plus going to have plus participle, past participle. Example, a future action or condition that will be completed before another event or time in the future. I will have been studying academic writing for 3 years by the time I graduate next spring. So, and we need to have a time expression of the future in order to normally use this perfect future tense. So what we have seen here till now, we have seen the past tenses, the simple past, the progressive past, the past or the perfect past. And for the present tenses, we have seen the simple present, the progressive present, and the perfect present. And for the future, we have seen simple future, progressive future, and the perfect future. So these are normally the different tenses of the verbs in English. And this is not the end. We have something else to see. Let's see it together. Here we have seen the perfect tenses, progressive tenses, but we have another tense. What is it? It is a combination of perfect tenses with progressive tenses to form for us the perfect progressive tenses. Let's see how. The perfect progressive tenses, they can be past, present, or future. Okay? So, for the past perfect progressive tenses, what do we have? We have had plus been plus present participle. Let's see the uses and the examples. When I have an action or habitual action taking place over a period of time in the past prior to some other event or time. Example, the teacher had been assigning 5 problems a day prior to midterms, and the midterms, they have ended in the past. Okay? He had been assigning for a period of time, and this period of time is over in the past. So this is called the past perfect progressive. So it is perfect, it has ended in the past, but it took a long time. It took a period of time. So we have another example. In complex sentences, a past action in progress main clause that was interrupted by a more recent past action. Example, the teacher had been planning to have an in-class exam, but she had a take-home exam instead. Okay, so there was an action in progress and another action occurred and interrupted this prior action. Let's see the present perfect progressive. The present perfect progressive tense, it is have or has plus been plus a present participle. So the present participle been and have. So we have and has plus been plus past participle, and has here no present participle, sorry, and as it is mentioned here, been and present participle, been and present participle. So has or have plus been plus present participle, a situation, a habit or action that began in the past and continues up to the present, and possibly into the future. So it crosses all the times. I mean the past, the present, and the future. So here, example, a situation, a habit or action, as I said, that began in the past and still continues to the present and may continue till the future. Example, the teacher has been meeting with the students in her office every day. Has been meeting. So he started meeting them in the past and he is still meeting them in the present, and he may continue till the future. So this is normally the present perfect progressive. Let's move now to the future perfect progressive. So the future perfect progressive, it is will have plus been plus present participle. Or it is or are plus going to have plus been plus present participle. It is a bit complicated. So by the time you get here, I will have been studying for the final for 8 hours. So by the time you get here, of course, in the future, I will have been studying for the final for 8 hours. So we will have been, so it starts from the present and ends till the future. So by the time you will get here, so you may be abroad, and I tell you by the time you come home, I will have been studying for the final for 8 hours. I will have normally finished my studies. I will have been finishing my studies for the 4th year. Okay, so this is normally what is called the combination of the perfect and progressive tenses. And we have here 3 tenses. We have tense 1, which is past tense, present, and the future. And we have seen examples. I hope that it is very clear for everybody here. So to recapitulate, normally we have seen the tenses. Normally we have seen the past tenses, as I said, present tenses, future tenses, and combination of tenses. And that's all, my dear students. I hope that you have benefited from this 5th lesson about the verbs. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.